So we got in touch with the guys at SX Pro and we said basically, we have heard great things about the Dangerous Music Compressor. We've used one a couple of times in different studios and they always seemed great. But our question was to them is, how does this, like, put it into this is the kind of situation we're in. We've got a Elysia Alpha compressor, a Unfairchild 672, and a Maselec MLA3. Now, they're our three main compressors in our mastering room. Now, we've always heard great things about the Dangerous Music Compressor, and we kind of said to the guys, look, can you get us one? We want to test it out. We want to try it out. We want to use it in a mastering setting, and we want to see if it does something that all these other top high-end compressors do. We want to see if it basically does something that the others don't. Does it have a place in our high-end mastering chain? Yeah, we are going to put it through its paces. We're going to do a few audio demo tests on a few little bits to show you A to B, what they all sound like. And then at the end, I'll give you my conclusion on whether we're going to buy it, what we think of it, and if it is actually going to stand against or with, or, you know, we might use that instead of the Alpha compressor, for instance. Is that the case? I'll let you know. we've had a good opportunity there to use the compressor. I mean, I'm sure you can hear, listening to those demos from A to B, it's a brilliant sounding compressor. And yes, it is. It is a brilliant sounding compressor. You know, it's a 3,100 and something pound compressor. Now, that stands up against 4, 5, 6 grand compressors. It stands up against let's face it, it does stand up against the Alpha. And the Alpha, you know, the Alpha's considered the best, well, one of the best compressors ever made, if not the best compressor ever made. So the two of them are they're different, but you know, it's not like you could buy the Dangerous and then go, oh, but the Alpha's so much better, and get this so much better sound out of the Alpha, and the Dangerous is just obsolete. The Dangerous isn't as good as the Alpha, but then that's all down to, you know, a little bit of personal preference. The question is, what I asked myself was, is the Dangerous, the fact that we have the Alpha compressor in there, we have the Unfairchild compressor in there, is the Dangerous music compressor going to go in there? And I'll be honest with you, no, it's not. It's not going to go in there, because if I'm 100% honest, and this isn't because the Dangerous compressor isn't good enough, if the Alpha wasn't in there, the Dangerous compressor would be a great compressor to go in there. But the problem being is that the Alpha compressor is so good, and it is the Swiss Army knife of compressors. It does everything to the most exceptional, best compression that you will ever hear. It means that the Dangerous compressor doesn't get a look in, and wouldn't get a look in. And that's my honest opinion. And that is the only reason why I personally won't be putting it into my studio. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't go into yours. If you've got an Alpha compressor, don't even bother, because the Alpha compressor is going to do everything that one can do plus more, and it's going to sound better. But if you've got, and this is what I'm very glad that I'm glad, this is the big reason why I'm glad that I got my hands on it and had it in a real world situation where I'm testing it and I've got a day with it. Now, the good thing about that is that now, when someone asks me what compressor should I get, I would say, if they said to me, oh, look, I've got £3,000 to £4,000, and you know, in that price range, God, what you got in that price range? You've got an SPL Iron, you could probably throw in the Master Bus compressor by Neve, the Portico 2. You've got the Dangerous music compressor. I'm sure there's loads more. I would say go with 3,100 and get yourself a Dangerous music compressor, because it's just because it doesn't replace my Alpha, which, let's face it, it's not going to. They're not in the same ballpark. But if I had £4,000, let's say, for instance, to spend, I would 100% consider the Dangerous music compressor over all the others. And you know, I've got an SPL Iron. Yeah, and I probably would. I don't know. I do like the Iron. I do really like how good the Iron sounds. It's a tricky one, really. But the in honesty, the one I would start recommending it now is the Dangerous music compressor, because it's a very affordable compressor. It's a very clean sounding compressor. It sounds incredible. It really does sound great. And I think you can establish that from listening to those audio demos, how good it does sound. And I think it does sound great. Does it perform like a £3,000 compressor? I mean, see, I'm not a very good person to answer that question, because, like, I had this conversation with Jason at SX the other day, and we were talking about how much it cost, and he said to me, "Oh, yeah, it's only 3,100." I said, 3,100? That is cheap. And if you'd have asked me that a couple of years, maybe 3 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that was cheap. It's only the fact that in comparison to an Elysia Alpha compressor costing 10,000 and a Unfairchild compressor costing close to 14,000, it is cheap when compared to them. And I'll be honest, it does stand up against it. Look, I said to Nick, who's the mastering engineer here, I said to him, "What do you reckon on it?" And he said, "It's a great compressor. It's another great compressor." Like, and I was like, "Anything else?" He's like, "What more do you want me to say?" It's a great compressor. It compresses and it sounds great. It's like, and yes, and that is all of those things is exactly what it does. It's a great compressor and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It compresses audio. And I mean, you can gauge everything you need to gauge from the audio demos, really. You can tell it's great. So yeah, that is my honest opinion on the Dangerous Music backs. And the last thing I will say is, just because it's not going into our studio doesn't mean it's not good. It just means it isn't better than the Elysia Alpha compressor. Take the Elysia Alpha compressor out and it would probably go in there.